Hey everyone, welcome to Evoked Thoughts. Thank you for tuning in for the second part of our tabletop discussion. The last one went a little long, so we're just going to go ahead and pick up right where we left off. Thank you again, everyone. I hope you guys really just get into what's going on here. And please, if nothing else, just think about doing something relating to tabletop after this discussion. The hobby needs more people. All right, I'm Jay, and I'm here with
Emily
and Tommy.
And we're going to go ahead and continue that conversation right where we picked off.
Yes, we are.
Dude, it is the adult equivalent of us sitting
watching
on
the freaking third
playground.
freaking Star Wars movie and going out to our friends and riding iguanas because Obi-Wan Kenobi just started riding iguanas and freaking lightsaber battling.
Exactly,
it's the same
dude.
thing.
It is the adult equivalent, or even the fucking middle school equivalent, of us sitting on the playground or running around the playground and pretending to be our favorite Power Rangers. Like,
dude,
you can't make it more serious.
I was the Titanium Ranger, and none of you can take that from me.
At the end of the day,
I'm playing the Titanium Ranger in the next campaign. What?
That we're playing pretend around a table, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Screw this, we're now talking about Power Rangers. You brought up Power Rangers. Dude, that's the whole podcast now.
Show.
We're taking a big turn. What did Power Rangers mean to me? No.
Yeah, but no.
Yes.
Me and Emily were driving back from our vacation, and for the majority of the ride, when we weren't like listening to music, mostly just be thinking about what we were doing, but we were playing a game of tabletop. The two of us in a car. She was setting the stage and playing NPCs, and I was playing a character. And back and forth, we were setting up situations and talking about what happens. We didn't have any character sheets. We were playing Tilted. I hadn't even really written up the rules for Tilted yet. We were making shit up on the spot.
Yeah,
there was no dice rolls. We were guessing numbers. Sometimes, you can use, guess a number from 1 to 10 to sort of simulate a dice roll. But, that's not the point. Rolling dice isn't the point.
The dice thing is just to add something crazy to your imagination.
That's not the point. The point is to play a game that has no limits. I love video games.
Oh man, we're getting into the deep philosophies of
No, but this is it.
No. And what is the core of the game?
No.
What is the meaning of
the game?
Fun.
Is that a video game, for the longest time, was something I thought had infinite possibility. You eventually get to games like Mass Effect, where you can definitively choose the ending. You can determine everything. You can change how everything happens. But the first time that you sit down in tabletop and you ask a question that you don't expect to be able to answer, affirmatively, and it is, God, I don't know if there's a better rush than that, man. That I've ever felt. That moment when you're okay, well, they're going in and talking to the bartender. I want to go around the back, scale the building, climb in through the window, and rummage through his room to try to get some dirt on him. And GM says roll for it. Dude, that's that shit.
Dude, but also yeah, you're right, man. Even video games have their limits. The limit being the story.
Yeah.
And it's there isn't. You can literally dude, there was campaigns that we had with you. One of your recent ones, your D&D one, where it's we had a guy just go off and do his own thing, completely changed the story.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
He became the villain. One of the players became the villain.
But that was the story. And it's dude, we had our own story. We each had our own individual, and that's the thing too that I want to stress on DMs. Make sure that every character gets their moment. Make sure everyone has their story moment. Don't let one feel underpowered. If one player, and also the key to any successful relationship is communication.
That's so
always.
True,
no, but it really is.
It's so true.
Always freaking. I was waiting for her to come turn around and give me a scalp, but it didn't. No, I'm just kidding. Freaking. Communicate with your players. Ask them, okay, how did everyone feel about that? And if some guy's well, I really feel like this guy was a lot stronger. And then it's and I kind of want my character to get strong. Because I played this weak character, but I wanted to see him grow. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's fix that. Let's start doing some stuff. We'll implement some stuff. I didn't
Oh
know.
my
I thought you
God.
were wanting to be the weak link. You know,
Dude,
like just
as a DM,
communication.
as a DM or a GM, if that's the side you want to be on the table, if you're getting inspired to play tabletop and you want to be a GM, here's the best thing I can tell you other than what we've said so far. Like a great tip, like hot take. Okay. If your player says that they aren't having fun or something didn't go how they wanted it to, or this ability like isn't working how they want, but like they are having fun, like they're trying to convince you that everything's okay, but you can tell that like even there's just a small problem, dude, fix it. Like small
'Cause they
stuff
can turn into big
can
stuff.
make huge changes. Like even if it's just their class, there's this one ability where all the other abilities are amazing, but this one ability is just like, I don't know why I have this, I'm never gonna use it. Why do they have it? Just take it away. If they've never even used it, take it away and replace it with something completely different.
But also, I do
Ask
want to say
them
too,
what
as
they
a
want.
player, know what game you're stepping into.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
Yeah.
if you're playing a game like Call of Cthulhu, which is something that we're gonna play tomorrow, I've never played it before, but no, it's a tragedy. Know that your characters aren't gonna survive. Make the most of it though. Make the best fucking story. In a game
Yeah.
of D&D, you're gonna win. You might die, you might not, but like the main goal is
You'll
there's a
come
big
back.
story. You're gonna come back. Like D&D
Yeah.
is all about that. Play a game like Vampire. Actually, I have no comment. Anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know. But exactly. But like, know what you're stepping into. Know what to expect. Know some things aren't about combat. Some things are more RP. Some things are more combat than RP.
And
But
communication.
that's the thing. Just like how everyone has their own DM, everyone has their own game.
Yeah,
You know what? Not everyone's cut out for D&D.
so true.
Not everyone's cut out for Vampire.
Yep.
Not everyone's cut out for both. There could be another thing. You know, it's some people are, some people aren't. You know, just know what game you step into. You know that there is a DM out there for a GM out there for you. You know, just know those things. You know,
Yeah.
and it'll definitely make this a way better experience.
For sure.
Yeah, the best tips I can give for anyone starting out are if you are a person who's planning on joining a game and playing in the game, make sure to actually talk with the dungeon master, the game master about your character. Build a backstory, kind of build their basis, what their convictions are, their ideals. And then the best advice I can give for every DM and GM out there, whether you've been doing it for a while or you're just starting out, incorporate character backstories.
Yes.
I played with a DM, the same terrible one.
Mm.
I would put hours into writing my backstory and never once would it come up in a story. And it's really amazing when you find ways to connect character stories into the main plot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be super cheesy, and it doesn't even have to be the main plot even. It could just be some side thing that comes up, like they get a letter from their long lost father or something. Like, it's rewarding to know that the effort you put into this character is being recognized in that fantasy world.
But also things come up when you never, like the big climax is about to happen, bam, this character thing came up, and it's like, wait,
Yeah.
well, this character's in a dilemma. She just got a freaking thing from her back. What are you laughing
Sorry, I'm laughing like a madman because I know exactly what moment he's thinking of that just happened in our final session of our 3-year
Yeah.
campaign.
And it's like, dude, all these things are happening.
I blew
Like,
his mind.
what things just happened? Wait, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, like I know that things are going down, but bye, dude.
Yeah, you're like, I'm sorry, I can't care. This just happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, man, in a perfect world, if I were to ever DM again, which I plan on it now, dude, there is no main story. The story is what I would do, and I think this is the next thing I'm actually going to do, is I get the player's story, and we're just starting with the first thing, and we're going to incorporate it, and we're going to put them in a setting. Like that's what I would do.
It makes it more realistic, and it's so rewarding
the story
because
is around the characters.
yeah, because you're solidifying them in this world, and you are proving from the get-go you have influence, you have impact, and your past, your fictional character's fictional past
Yeah.
is all immediately solidified the moment you bring it into the game. The moment you say, here is a letter from your mother from when you were a baby, Libra. And
That's me.
yeah. And that immediately solidifies that, yeah, he didn't know who his mother was until I gave him that letter. And then he started to learn.
And then it's like, even if you're a player that's never played before, this is your first campaign, think about that. You get put in that position of, I'm playing this guy, and he's never met his mom before, and like, dude, what? He didn't even know he had a mom or any of this stuff, and like
Yeah.
he thought he was just this ruthless freaking killer, and this ruthless freaking killer now got a letter from mommy. What does that do to him? Think about it. And you're playing that, and even just by playing that, even if you're not serious in RP, you know, and some people, there is some games where you don't have to be, but think about what that does, you know, and it'll get you.
Oh my God.
Doing some stuff,
Okay.
man.
Another tip.
Yeah.
Player tip. Sorry. I know this is probably going to be a long episode, and for some people this may kind of drone, but like
It's probably gonna
there
be
is
too far.
someone out there, and I would wager a lot of people who like either get this because they've played tabletop or are getting super fucking psyched about tabletop, and that makes me really happy. Because like this is the kind of thing we could talk about for 8 hours.
We
I mean,
really
how we
could.
do. But, dude, player tip. Okay. I don't care how long you've been playing. I don't care if it's your first session. The best thing you can do for yourself. I don't care if you're an introvert. I don't care if you don't know these people at the table. Roleplay. Fucking roleplay, man. It is so easy not to.
And a lot of people don't. I will say,
no.
and it might not
And
be for
I know.
everyone.
I know
But
it's
I'd
not for
say-
everyone.
But I will say too, yeah, like but before you finish, I will say everything in tabletop is a game where you need to just give everything a chance. Give roleplay a chance.
No.
Give games you never thought you'd want to play a chance. Anyway,
Yes,
sorry.
of course. But what I'm saying is, I don't mean roleplay like get super in character and be super meta
Dress
and
up and shit,
If you
yeah.
want to do that, do that. Because if that's what you want to do, you're gonna have the most fucking fun with that.
If you want to
But-
wear a prom
but-
gown because your character is wearing a gown, do it. Because I did.
Yeah.
See, and
it worked
I'm not at
really
that
well.
level. Like I'll act my character, I'll be the character, but I'm still not at the level where I'll dress up as the character.
No, I mean, well, you have like 3 times, but
No, yeah, okay, that's like one time I did, and it was because like it was an event.
yeah.
And
that was
also
good.
one of
That
them was a
really fun.
comedic gag.
Yeah.
Because like my character was straight up wearing some funny ass shit. Anyway.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you have to roleplay in character. I'm saying roleplay in the sense that even if you don't want to talk in the voice, even if you don't want to dress up, do what the character would do.
Yes.
Don't
be the character.
play the game detached.
I didn't know that's what you were going for, but yeah.
You're gonna have so much more fun. You're already there playing pretend with your friends around a table. Like, it's already lame and nerdy, okay? You don't get to then just go like, I'm just kinda here. I'm just a little bit of a dragonborn. I'm just kinda killing the undead with my fucking badass paladin.
Dude, I will say the best apology that a player can make to another player is, I'm sorry, but you know this is what my character would do in this very moment.
But this is the most
Yeah.
important part.
Yeah.
It's not me declaring, oh, that's just what my character would do.
No, it's
that's
like-
being an asshole. It's both of us looking at each other and going, fuck, you're right.
Yeah, because it's
You're
like
fucking
it's
right.
like, guys, you all know he's been a secret serial killer this entire time, and he's never shown you guys. So y'all know, but your characters don't, and this is gonna piss your characters off. But like,
You all
You
know,
know
my
he does.
And
Malkavian
dude,
is an enlightened
communication.
vigilante.
exactly,
Communication.
communication, dude.
Talk.
Man, you know what? If there's anything, this should just be a big communication PSA.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
After a session,
Relationships,
DM,
communication, tabletop communication.
Yeah.
right. DM after
You
a
and the
session.
mailman, communication. I'm sorry, that was my own thing. I'm so sorry.
You as a DM, you gotta ask. You gotta be like, hey guys, how was it? Not like in a, oh my god, I wonder if they liked my story. No, dude, your story doesn't fucking matter. If they are having fun, if they're loving your story, then it's great. But like, if your story is something you're forcing on them, that's not what matters. What you need to ask is like, hey guys, how was that? You know, what do you guys think? Do you have any comments? Do you have any questions? Is there anything you want to know about how the game works? Is there anything you want to know about what you can
Are you
do?
liking the story so far?
Right, yeah, are you liking the story? If they say they're not liking the story, dude, change the story. You can use that story, that awesome story that you thought up at any time in any other game. You could write it in a book if you want. But like, if
People
these
do
players aren't
it.
enjoying it, don't force them through it. If they decided, okay, like if you've got this whole story about this fucking like cult and you're super psyched about them going to this town and shutting down this cult, right? But they stop by a city on the way, right? And they drop in just to like gear up before they go to this town where they know there's gonna be this villain, right? And they stumble into something that you didn't plan and that isn't really a plot point. But it's like, They stumble into it, and it's like this letter, right? We'll say it's this letter. And they latch onto it. Dude, I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care who the fuck you want to be or what you want the story to be. Your story's about that goddamn letter.
Yeah.
It has
You know what I
to
do
be.
hate too? I do. I go on like, I'll like see stuff on the internet like on like that Reddit stuff and everything.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you'll see the DMs where
D&D
they're
Reddit
No,
is
no, no.
like half amazing and half just putrefying.
You'll see like DMs who are like, well, I put this tower here, and my party went around it, and now the story's fucked, because now they're in a bar fucking everybody in the bar. I'm so
They always
pissed.
had this giant orgy.
Yes, my players have smiles on their faces and have fun, and yeah, there's a cool story that could be made out of this because the cops are coming and they don't know that, but I do. But you know what? That tower's so goddamn important, I'm gonna kill them all. There's just a nuke that's getting dropped. Like, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. No, fucking, like, they want to do that? Okay, cool, yeah. Your story's still awesome. But, like, either find another way to get him to go back, because if you really are that strong about it, but make it more intriguing, or just freaking, make a new story.
Yeah. Or, how about this? Here's another amazing DM tip. Something that I learned in my second year
Or let
and
the players decide,
have applied in games since then. And it has not failed. It's never failed. If you have a plan, there is always a setting for that plan. You expect it to happen in the cave. You expect it to happen in the back room of the bar. You expect it to happen in the sewers, right? Okay, well, if your players are off fucking in the bar, when they get done and they go downstairs to clean up, guess who's in the fucking bar? The wizard from the tower! Like,
Exactly.
be
Exactly.
the guy or girl or
Improvise.
fucking non-binary,
It's your
whatever.
job.
Like, be whoever you are, whatever you are, the fucking beholder that's going to adapt the story. If you have this amazing story, then make it work with what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's hard, but like, put the effort in. Because if you can make that happen, that's when shit gets satisfying, man. Like, my first... There were 3 seasons, pretty much a year each, of Vampire. And the first year, I decided before the game that, like Rio said, there wasn't really a story.
No, it
The
was whatever the
goal
characters
was,
made of it.
you guys got turned into vampires. What now?
There was
that
ideas of
made a
stories with
story,
the characters.
man.
Honestly, there wasn't an overarching story. It was mostly, hey, these are all the NPCs. They have their thing. It was a world.
Yeah, there was a world.
So also,
and
here's the
the
thing,
world
though.
moved forward
No, here's
as
the-
they
yeah.
took actions.
The-
And if they wanted to interact with something, they could. But I wasn't gonna, like, the elders didn't fucking care that these new vampires were here and like no, that's
But
not
also,
fair.
here's the other thing. If you're so done on your story and you know, and here's the thing. If your story can't go on because this one event, well, remember, repercussions, or
Yeah.
like the world is the world.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
character, your players are in a world, not repercussions. That sounds wrong, but like, because it's not their fault. But
No, but there's consequences to every choice.
consequence.
Whether they intend, and consequences don't always have to be negative. They can also be
Right.
positive.
So here's the thing, though.
Or neutral.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they didn't go to the tower. Even though everything told them to go to the tower. You know what? That's fine. They didn't go to the tower, but it's still a world. That
Yeah.
evil wizard, he just made
He
this.
wins.
he didn't disappear.
He rose the fucking
rose the
demon
fucking
monster.
demon monster,
Now
and
he
guess
owns
what?
That city.
New problem, better story.
Yeah.
Something-
Go for it. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, something I've started doing that I really enjoy, and what I did in my last season of D&D, because I basically stranded them on this foreign land, and I didn't really have a plan. I had a story I wanted to get to eventually, but I knew that it might not happen. So what I did was I drew out a map of the area they were stranded on, and I created the north, south, east, and west, and I created an encounter for every direction they could have gone. And whatever they chose to do, they would have run into something. And not every something was related to the something, but it was something that they were like, oh, shit, what is this? And that way they're not just walking through this blank space and I'm trying to make stuff up on the spot. I kind of have a loose thing of like, oh, there's centaurs over here. There's hags in a cave up here. There's, a portal to the Shadowfell over here. And no matter which way they went, they were going to encounter something so that the story and the fun didn't stall. But also, I didn't stop them from doing what they wanted. When they wanted to go hunting for a boar, I let them go hunting, and I let them, tan the hide and create.
It was a dope scene.
Yeah, and
This like 12-foot boar rushes us all.
Yeah.
I'm standing there with my fucking spear. Like, that was cool.
Yeah, no, that was cool. And I really kind of gave them some freedom. And then once I sort of had a direction that they wanted to go, and they sort of had their story moments that I was finally able to weave in, I drew them into the main plot, which they're going to see a lot of this next season. So you don't have to immediately push them into a giant story, especially if your players aren't ready and you aren't ready. Just give some small things that they can do, and no matter what they're doing, they're going to have fun. Or just ask them, what do you guys do? It's the afternoon, you're on this beach, what do you want to do?
Right.
And let them decide where they're going to go and what they're going to do.
The players are looking for fun. If you don't have a plan, they'll make one. And
They
you
really
can build
will.
off of that, because the biggest thing is, I think this might be the biggest thing about, like, as a DM, something I learned that defined my, like, running the game style, and I think that my players really love. I don't know, 2 of my players are here, so we can hear
Well,
what
I
they
just
have to
got
say
back.
after.
Sorry, I have the bladder of a 6-year-old
But,
grandmother,
no,
so
you're fine.
I get up and go every night.
But I don't know that you need a story. I think the best thing I've learned to do is improvise. It got to a point where I would write notes like 12 pages long, man, really trying to ensure that all these story beats get hit in this 8-hour session, and everyone's fucking like annoyed and bored and hungry. By the time 6 o'clock rolls around, we've been there since 10.
I think at max a session, this is another conversation for another time. At max, I think the best, 4 to 6 hours. 6 hours on the long end for a session.
For like a boss fight,
And
or
that's like a
climactic
boss,
moment.
but honestly, like a 4-hour session. And I don't know,
Yeah.
back when I used to DM, which was a couple years ago, like, all my sessions would hit like a 3-hour mark. Granted, they
Yeah.
were very cookie cutter. Everyone knew what they signed up for. It was very like everything was a one shot. It was okay. We're gonna go in and do this. Bam.
Yeah, we fought a Sesame Street themed beanie like monster gang.
Oh yeah. They literally fought
They were
puppets.
actually
radioactive
puppets on
puppets
motorcycles
that-
with shotguns.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Oh no, like, and I completely. All I did was, this is a problem that's gonna be there. This is a bounty. They get a reward. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's story, and then there was improvised story stuff, and then there were some actual moments where shit got serious.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me finish my point. before I
Sorry
forget
about
it.
that. Yeah.
and then I'll let you go on.
Oh, we don't need to revisit that place.
But yeah, I stopped preparing because I found that I would write these notes and I would go off tangent on like the second page, and I got so mad at myself, like, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, because my players had tons of fucking fun.
Dude, I remember though in the beginning.
And
I remember
dude,
those notes, and I remember how you were,
I know.
especially when you first introduced Vampire, you were so
Yeah.
like, this is a game.
Well, because
where
the
it's
system
like
is set
this,
up in
and
such
it's
a
not
way-
like this.
You're called
Yeah.
a storyteller. It's set up in such a way that you feel like that's what you're doing. But dude, the best like arc I've ever run is the one I just ran. It was what, maybe 12 sessions? Maybe
Yeah.
less, maybe 11. And every one of them was 3 to 4 hours. And granted, we built your characters and all this stuff over the course of the other 2 sessions. This was the final season of this 3-season, 3-year thing. But I didn't have any notes, like, at all. I wrote some names down, but never even
But
brought the
also,
notes to the
here's
session.
how you pull that off. I just want to throw this out there. Don't go in there like new guys like think that, oh, I can just do that. No, the reason why he was able to do that is because he knew his characters.
Yeah.
He knew what they were, what their story was. He knew what their place was in the world. He
Right.
knew what they were. So in knowing that, he was able to improvise because he's like, oh, that's how they react. Oh, that's totally what's
Well,
going to happen because that
that's
makes
it.
sense because it's a world. He knew his world and he knew
How
his characters in that world.
They react.
Exactly.
Those are the words.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to know. Some characters, you think I knew a lot more than I knew. I didn't have to know anything about anyone except how they feel and how that makes them react. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Everything else I can make up. What powers they have, what magic items, how they fight, what they do in the meantime. Who fucking cares? That's not what matters. What matters is how they affect you. How they react to what you do, to the events you set in motion. You 2-year-old vampires became extremely significant in an end of the world scenario to a fucking vampire that was 3,000 years old.
Oh,
Because
and my character straight up was like, oh, nihilism. Oh, that's okay.
well, no, but that's why. Because my characters were reacting to you. I decided that you were going to be important. And whatever you did was going to make ripples that were going to affect even these massive things that you shouldn't be able to touch. Because why are you playing the game? Right?
I do
want to
say,
the game
yeah.
for it to matter. You want to be doing something. You want to be influencing something.
And I want to say too, I'm not going to spoil because I know Emily wants to do the chronicles and everything, but I want to say I really thought, I guess I learned it's not all about winning and defeating the big bad in Vampire. That's one thing I learned. I'm not going to explain the ending or anything. That's all I'm going to say on that. And then I do want to say too, is that I thought what was going to happen to my character was going to end in tragedy. That was the story I had written, and that was the awesome story I had written.
And it might have.
And it could have. It totally could have. And I'm not going to spoil his ending, but I want to say there was insurmountable odds. I can't say words.
Insurmountable.
No, you were right.
I actually said it.
Insurmountable
Okay.
odds.
You're good.
I have a really bad speech impediment, so
It's okay.
But I have insurmountable, or there's just all these odds are stacked against him,
Yeah.
and he had to
Backs against
recognize.
the wall.
And he had to. Oh no, we're not singing the song. That's 3rd grade. We don't need that. 3rd to 4th. But no, so literally, there was nothing he could do about it, and no matter what he did, he really fought hard. But he was one thing. There was a fact in this world: older things are stronger, younger things are weaker.
Yeah.
And he had to accept that and come out with his own ending.
Right.
And you know what? The ending that he had, it's still a depressing ending. And that's all I'm going to say. But it was also happy because it was acceptance,
I mean, it was real.
It was real. And
was
that's
really
all I'm going to
real.
say on that is it was a grand old time. And
Yeah, so tune into the
trust me,
Pinterest
you
Fox.
should tune into that because that's going to be a crazy roller coaster of emotion and awesomeness.
We'll be posting about it on the Facebook page. We'll make sure you guys know about it. We'll talk about it in the podcast. It's going to be really cool.
I can't
honestly,
wait to get on there with it.
I've told a lot of stories. I wrote a fucking book, which I'm pretty proud of. I don't know, man. Vampire might have been the best story that we've ever told.
But then it took
together.
the span of 3 years,
Yeah,
So.
man.
Dude, but speaking of that, these things they're not all meant to last for 3 years.
No.
But, the really ones that you will remember, the ones that you'll really remember and feel most attached to are the ones that are.
Yeah.
And in knowing that, for any future GMs too, your story has to be flexible because the only way that this thing lasted that long was because there was a point where, the notes were important in the beginning, but eventually, notes got scrapped.
Yeah,
and it was just pure story. We were literally making art. And
Yeah.
maybe it's because we're all these creative people that make these awesome things.
Staying up
or,
till 4 a.m. just talking.
or maybe because we were just these guys that were just no, we just want to make something cool because this is awesome. Something that was passion-filled,
No,
Yeah.
dude, we had sessions that weren't sessions. There were players left for the summer, and we said we were going to be done.
And
And
kept
I
going.
let these two motherfuckers right here, right now,
Yeah.
fucking convince me to on late night drives to Taco Bell, fucking thrice a night, fucking hanging out till 4 a.m. in my janky ass little broom closet bedroom, fucking playing this game.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about rolling dice. I'm not talking about me
And some of the
telling
best
him a
story.
I'm talking about these two talking. Just talking. In character, using these voices, playing these people who they have created. And me just listening, taking notes, doing a little bit of commentary on, and he leaves. Or he comes back.
In that
or he
time,
turns
though,
around.
in that time, there was something that that we never thought was gonna happen in anything.
No, dude.
Something that was really big and taboo for vampire, and it happened with my character, and it was the first of it happening in all of us.
A big story point.
Yeah, big
kind
story
of in
point.
the world.
And it happened off the table too.
There were big story points for both of our characters that summer because.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably one of the best scenes ever.
Wasn't at the table.
That we've ever done was not at the table and was literally just me and Emily. And I hate myself for it. I wish I would have recorded it. I wish someone would have been there. I wish that was something just at least one more person could confirm was as amazing as we thought it was. But that's what these games are, man.
Exactly.
I will try to retell it the best I can
saying,
when that episode comes
I'm just
about.
saying, though, that whole thing, the imagery, because there was a church involved, there was death, and it was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And it was just yeah, man, and it was so weird because just even away from the table, and that was that communication thing. There might even be players that are that way. They want to get a little bit of extra story in and build a little bit out. And
let them.
And also, here's the thing. Don't be afraid to do stuff outside of the table.
Yeah.
Because as long as it'll tie into the story and that everyone will eventually be able to witness it. Because here's the thing. You're all awesome, right? Or you're all bandits who are trying to take over and rob the kingdom. You step away from the table with one of the guys who's kind of shaky on it. The king offers him a deal. Fucking, you go in, betrays everybody, and they're like, when did this happen? We never saw this happen.
Yep.
So if you take away the dramatic irony that all the players will get, oh, dude, becomes fucking amazing. And then they're like, when did this happen? Well, guys, we did this off the table. This happened. Y'all knew he was shaky, but you didn't know if he was really going to be full in or full out. Well, there's your answer. He was not full in, and you're all been betrayed, and it's fucking awesome. Dude, so much shit you can do. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid of anything,
dude,
man.
it's just a story, man. Tell the story. Tell the story.
It's your story.
What's going on in that world, man.
It's your story. If you are the GM, you're making the rules. In every way. I'm not talking about the rules in the book. Fuck that shit.
Well, what else?
I'm talking about you can step away with a player. You can ask a player, hey, I have this idea for this dude, this wizard, who isn't very strong, but he's going to try to charm you, and I want you to let him so that this session can be you, the fucking barbarian, their tank, fighting your fucking ranger friends. Fucking get it up in their faces. I played that session. Jay, played the barbarian in the session, and you know what? I'll give him credit for it. That shitty DM that we fucking had, he let me do this, and it was awesome. I played the barbarian being taken over by this evil ancient spirit and fighting my entire fucking party, and I almost killed all of them.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most amazing moments. And it all came from an idea.
And it was great story. But
I got up at the lunch break, the dinner break, whatever. We went out. And when I came back, I sat on the other side. I was sitting behind the DM screen with him, rolling with him against them.
What was I going to say, though? There was something. The DMs, too, your big story. And before I said, try to wrap them around and give consequences or whatever, even if that doesn't work out, and even if you feel like your story didn't go as planned, and you have to go the consequence route, you have to do this, and you expected this, man, it's still your story. It's still your NPCs, still your villains, it's still your world that you made. And it is just them interacting, and you know what? You can't control their actions, It's just this is what's happening in your world.
Yeah.
This is what's happening to your story. And once you look at it like that, because if you want it to go a certain way, go write a book. Go write a screenplay.
Yeah.
Go do that. That's what that's for. That's how you have complete control over. But this is different. This is a different way of storytelling. This is a different way of writing a story. Something completely different, man. It is improv. It is screenwriting. It is all of that shit that you want. It is everything combined.
Player tip.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, and. It's the first rule of improv. It's very simple, but it defines whether or not you and your friends are going to be having fun playing this game. Yes, and, right? If someone says something, right? Rios is playing a rogue. I'm playing a wizard. Rios walks over behind me, rolls a sneak check, wins the sneak check, comes up, steals my wand. Just because he's a dick. Or maybe because secretly I did something against him and so now he's trying to get me killed in the next fight or something, right? Whatever. He doesn't. Let them do it. You know, you as the player even, not necessarily that situation, but like if someone says something and you guys are role playing, don't say no. Figure out a way to work it in. You know what I mean?
But also, yeah, players. Here's another thing. Communication, right? You both want to do something. The other player might not like it, but he might like the story and the outcome and what that would do to his character, like his wand getting stolen from the rogue.
Right.
Instead of just
because
doing
maybe
that,
he found out he doesn't want to play a wizard. Maybe he's like, fuck, I wish I would have played a paladin.
No, not just that. Okay, the rogue, instead of just being there to just steal the wand right in the middle of the party and see what he does, talk to him. Be like, and be with your DM. Be like, hey, can I do this thing? We're both in agreement here. I want to take his wand, and he's powerless without his wand. I want to see what that looks, and he wants to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I want to take his wand because I want to pawn it off for a lot of money, you know, because it's an ancient
Or
wand.
fucking use it to become a wizard.
Or use it to become a wizard. Just so much shit you could do. Right. So players, don't even be afraid to want to, you know, plan out story beats. You know.
Yeah.
Ooh, I said story beats. Ugh, that's like freaking college screenwriting courses. Garbage. But you know, don't be afraid to freaking plan that out with your DM, but you know, or GM. But also, don't hide that as players from him because you know it's helpful for them to know. Because as much as you want to, surprising the GM is great, but like it helps flow easier.
No, you want your GM
to be on
to
board.
Know as much as you're willing to tell them.
Because he's not always going to plot
gonna
against you. He's there to provide a story and all that. So he's not always going to plot against you unless he's an asshole. And he's there to make it happen.
Or unless it's the game you're playing. There are games like Call of Cthulhu where the goal is to kill us all or drive us insane.
So don't tell the DM shit. Don't tell him shit. No, I'm just kidding.
in a game like that. But like...
No, he already... Situation. Actually, you have to tell him everything because he's playing the god that already knows everything. So,
that's true. That's fair.
That's really... That's the game you're playing.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a losing game. There's no winning. And once you accept that, you have the most fun with that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless winning means that you're enlightened at the end.
Ooh, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. So, I've got a question, if you don't mind, host. What does tabletop mean to you?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh my god, we never asked.
Oh, it's fine. I've been interjecting where I want. So, it's really interesting because 3 years ago, like, I can't even describe, like, okay, I'm going to be, like, really real for a second, and some of you listening might not know this about me, so just, like, prepare yourselves. So 3 years ago, I had, like, really bad depression, like, suicidal level, right? And around that time is when I met Jalen, and when we started dating, and, you know, not long after he met me, he told me what he does on the weekends. He told me he plays Dungeons & Dragons, and I had heard of it, but I didn't really understand how the game worked. And so the first thing he said to me about Dungeons & Dragons is, you play video games, right? And I said, yeah, I've played a few video games before. And he said, imagine it like that, but you're allowed to do anything you want and be anyone you want to be. And being in the place I was, escaping from reality, sounded like something that just wasn't possible, that it wasn't attainable. Like, you're never going to be able to escape your problems. And as Emily, I'm going to tell you that, like, yeah, escaping from your problems isn't what you do. But what tabletop taught me is that it's not just an escape from your problems. It's a way to deal with them in a way that you can healthily vent these toxic emotions without taking them out on the people around you. Or maybe you are taking them out on the people around you, but the people around you just don't recognize it because
I have to live with her. Anyways,
you're hitting their character. You're not hitting them. But
but
it's like really what my character would do, right?
Many roommate disputes.
But yeah. Anyway, so it was a way for me to work through those emotions and really project who I wanted to be. I mean, Elizabeth was this idealistic version of me, this person who was everything I wanted to be, everything I embodied at the time, this humane, loving, caretaking person who never said no, who always tried to help people, who saw the best in monsters, who would see a murderer and say, I forgive you, you can be saved. And it was just this way for me to cope with that part of me and accept it and then let it go. And it's really hard to explain unless you've like done it. But tabletop really helped me become more comfortable with myself. It showed me parts of myself that I didn't realize were there. It surprised me a lot of the times. I surprised myself with like some of the emotion that came out during gameplay. And not all the time is it going to be like an emotional thing where you're like crying or like super angry. Like it's supposed to be really fun. But right, I found it really fun to release these emotions and just release them into this fictional world and with these characters who dealt with them in a way that I always wanted to deal with them. And that sounded really bad because now it sounds like I'm a really dealing with problems, let me preface this, dealing with problems in tabletop doesn't always mean you're killing them. It was just a way for me to socialize with people and a safe place where you could have fun and vent these emotions and be this person and be in this amazing world and do all these great things. And you learn a lot about yourself while you're playing, and you learn a lot about each other. It makes your friendships stronger. Yeah. And it's really just like unlike anything else I've ever experienced. And it helped me get through a lot because there were days I would be at work and I would just hate life. And the only thing I would be thinking about is when I get home, I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons tomorrow, or I'm going to play Vampire tomorrow. And that would literally get me through weeks of my life during that really hard time. And also, you know, like not just the game, but seeing my friends and all of us having fun and sharing this experience and cracking these jokes that no one would get but us. It is something to look forward to. And when I said earlier that it was like this wholesome thing, like, yeah, like I meant that. It's this healthy way to bond with people and also, you know, learn a lot about yourself and have fun. And it's not something that's dangerous. It's not something that's unhealthy. It's not, you know, it's not drugs. It's not going out late and partying, you know, it's just something you can do at home with your friends, and you guys can order a pizza and just chill out and talk. And yeah, I don't know where else to go from there. Just
no, it's okay.
I just want to say too, yeah, you've come a long way as a person through this. Like I've noticed it too. Like, you know, at the very beginning, I never really understood why you were so obsessed. Because there was a while, like you were so obsessed with Vampire, and I never got it because I never even knew why I started. But like. You got me obsessed with it for a while too. I mean, you were always a little bit more. You were the like. But
I dedicated hours just to looking for outfits on Pinterest for my character.
And I'm not even. And there'd be times when Jalen's like, dude, can you like take some of this vampire stuff because like I can't. And I love her. I love you, but like I need some help here, man. I'm like, bro, no. You signed up for this. You made us play. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so, but no, like, seriously, on a real note, like, not a slight or anything at all about, you know, but no, I didn't realize, like, how much it meant to you and, like, what you were using it for. Or I don't even know if you did in the beginning either. You know, I think it just slowly kind of became a thing.
I think I didn't realize it until Jay pointed it out, but, like, I didn't realize it until he said, you spend a lot of time thinking about this, like, hey, let's do something else. And yeah, I learned, we should do something else. And I shouldn't just be obsessed with this all the time. It was something I turned to. It was a lot. It became a coping mechanism.
It did, but
honestly.
like for me, it's just crazy. Like it really did help you, like because you just as a person, it comes such a long way, and just like you've gotten a lot more social and just stuff like that. Just from when I first met you, and I'm not one to pass judgment or say who you were, define you, but like it's just from what I observed.
No, yeah, you're right.
You were like really like you were very social. I don't want to say off-puttish, but you had that like. I mean, our first encounter, by the way, I want to say.
But to take it back to tabletop.
No, yeah, sorry. I'm just saying it.
I want to pose the question to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
What does tabletop mean to you?
I think what it means to me is it's just honestly for someone like me, who I struggle with. I'm a really stressed out, angst out person as a person. I'm not gonna say I have anxiety or anything. I haven't been diagnosed.
Right.
That's not something I'm gonna. But I do. I get really stressed out as a person, and I'm also a writer, and there'll be times where I'm like, oh, I want to write the story, but like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to make this a thing in this moment and where I am right now. So I can write it, but it's gonna be put on the back burner.
Right.
There's no way for me to actively do anything with it.
You don't have the budget.
I don't have the budget.
You don't have the means.
Or I can't even just act it out or do anything with it.
You don't even have actors.
With tabletop, whether I'm a GM or if I'm actually playing as a player, it's a way for me to tell a story. Mm-hmm. And actually, even if I'm not filming it or producing it for anyone, it's like I'm still doing something with that story. Yeah. And it is an outlet for me to, flex my creative muscles. It is an outlet for me to, work on acting, work on writing, just various things like that. And for me, it's just it's just an outlet for my, bigger passions. And I never really used it to, I guess there has been times like with the character like Alistair, but obviously Emily, like she really changed her and like really helped her a lot. I never got to that level, but like I kind of did, with Alistair, but like, no, but for me, what it really means is that it's a way for me to do something with my passions.
Yeah.
Even if it's not anything big, I'm still doing something there,
Yeah.
And it just helps me, It helps just flex those muscles and yeah.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
and it
and
just feels nice.
Something I'd like to add is that I wrote poems and stuff before I started playing tabletop, but I didn't know I wanted to be a writer until I started getting into tabletop and really falling in love with the idea of telling these stories and falling in love with the characters I created and the characters other people created.
Some really fascinating NPCs.
Yeah.
All your NPCs in your first campaign that we played in were like all like deserve their own story.
Yeah.
Like that's how good she was in the beginning.
Yeah, dude.
And like we would play this. I'm like, dude, no. The first world we were like, bro, this isn't even.
We're like, we
our
shouldn't be
characters,
playing this.
We shouldn't be playing this. We should be just. Can we just read this? Like no, and like, and that was her first campaign. So and it wasn't like.
Oh,
we're not like throwing any shade or anything, but
no. It was so fun.
Yeah.
But it was fun, but also it was like her world and how she made it. I was like, dude, this needs to be booked, and I don't even think she realized that. I think
you told me that so many times. Like maybe after every session, I would drive him home, and he'd be telling me like, dude, I don't know why we're playing this. Like she should just be writing.
No,
this.
because
This is so
I think
good.
the thing is, and
book.
that's another thing though.
Oh my
gosh. Another thing about tabletop, man, is like it is another way for you to figure out maybe outlets. Like it's a way for you to take all those repressed. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just
to express your ideas.
Full of feeling, and I need to
you.
let it out. And but it's a way for you to find, meaning and maybe find something that you didn't never know you wanted to do before. Because there's another thing, you could totally just play a character with a background in freaking carpentry.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, dude, I fucking love this. I'm gonna go be a fucking carpenter because this is fucking awesome. Or you're people like us where it's like, oh no, I'm making this awesome character and I'm just, dude, I fucking love telling the story. It's not for anybody, it's just for the fact of like, I enjoy this. I enjoy telling a story. Dude, I want to tell stories. It's just shit like that. Like
we played a game once where I was a cleric whose greatest character trait was that he was like crippling anxiety. He would hide behind rocks in
Oh,
battles.
I
He was
remember
crying all the
him.
time.
Oh,
He
I
tried to
loved
talk
him
to people,
so
but
much.
like literally could not walk in the room to talk to people. Like one person. Like his whole thing was that he was just unable to be a social entity. And then he got this power, and as a cleric was able to finally do something. But like still, even in fights, he was hiding under tables and casting heal spells and shit. It was amazing. He had no combat aptitude at all. But yeah, if you guys would permit me, I feel like I've spoken a lot, but
I've spoken a lot
Well,
too.
I-
I'm just gonna say that.
is there anything else you'd like to say? Because I want to lead towards a close.
Yeah, I just want to add this sort of at the end. So like, when I say I use tabletop to like help with my depression, I'm not saying it cured depression.
No.
I'm just saying
It's an outlet.
Yeah, no, it's a healthy outlet, but also I didn't realize this until the other night. I was thinking about it because we closed the 3-year campaign with Elizabeth, who I've already said was very much a self-insert of a piece of me that I had trouble coming to terms with. And I realized that every character I've ever played in a tabletop game is part of myself, right? And this is just going to be natural. Like any character you create is, of course, going to be a piece of yourself, whether it's over-exaggerated or not. And it helped me. I learned something from all of them. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous. You're like, okay, they're fictional characters, they're not real, but while those characters grow in the game based on the trials and tribulations and things they're going through, it also showed me how I could grow as a person and how I could become better and more comfortable with parts of myself that I hated and parts that I couldn't change. And it made me be okay with myself because I was okay with them because I loved them. They were these amazing, beautiful characters that I created in this fictional world, and I got to play them and enjoy being them. And if I could enjoy being them, then why did I hate myself for having those same qualities? And I realized that the other night, and that's what I mean when I say that it can be this healthy and like really amazing thing. And it's not gonna be that for everyone. Like for some people, it's just a fun game. But for those of you who are worried about it, or like that's how something like this can help you, and that's why tabletop means so much to me, because it helped me in a way that I never thought a game could help you. And I used it in such a way that obviously not everyone uses it for, but it's just something that can be amazing and really impact and change your life and how you feel about certain things. And it can help you grow as a person, which is something I've never said about any game, ever. Not sports, not competitive band or cheerleading or whatever you're in. Like, this teaches you things about yourself and about the people around you. And when I say it builds friendships, it builds them. It can become the foundation of them.
Yeah.
A lot of every single friend we have now, we have met through tabletop or forged friendships through playing tabletop with them. And it's just unlike anything you'll ever experience. You are creating shared memories with people, and it's just a beautiful experience.
For sure.
Also, next time, because we should definitely do a second part, I would love...
Well, we just did 2 parts.
We'll probably honestly do 3.
Yeah.
We need to have Alex in on one of these, man.
Oh, for sure.
Because we were talking about it, and I'm like...
This is not the last time we're talking about tabletop. I said this before, and I will say it again. There's a very high likelihood that we end up having a tabletop-centered podcast.
Probably.
Like talking about
I
how
see
to
it
GM
now.
or how to be a player.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. We could totally do it. It would be so fun. We'd talk about it forever. But, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I'm pretty good, man. I'm
Okay.
getting worn
Jay?
out.
Anything else you want to say?
Closing thoughts?
Yeah, well...
Oh, no, I've pretty much
Bruh.
wrapped up everything I had to
We
say.
just
I
did-
talked about my depression.
No,
so.
I know. Well, that's what I'm going to say. Hard to follow, but what tabletop means to me, it's a little bit more simple and less emotional. But I think
Yeah.
I'm a writer. but I'm also a lover of stories.
I'm a writer. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
And I've found so many stories in my life that are very good. But I always feel like there's something I would have done different. Tabletop is an opportunity to do something different. The story is being told. The other players are taking actions you probably wouldn't take if you were playing them. The ST, the DM, the GM, they are taking actions. They've made characters. They've had reactions that you probably wouldn't have. But for the first time, and the only time, you have the opportunity to actively affect that in whatever way you want. And I'm not talking Skyrim dialogue trees where it's a bunch of ye, they, thee, weeth. It's words that you say, that you choose, and actions that you choose to take with a character that you've created that will influence whatever is happening in the moment. It's really, really amazing. And I don't know how to stress that. But I think we've done a pretty good job of trying for the last 2 hours.
I did have something that I want to say. This is the last thing I actually want to say. Is if you haven't yet, if this hasn't convinced you, everyone, anyone, no matter how old or young you are, I think all of y'all need to go out, local game store, online, wherever, and just find a game and get your friends together and just freaking, play some tabletop, dude. Get it in your lives, man. It's the best drug you can pick up,
Oh yeah, man.
It's over the counter, dude. So.
There's also
I tried with a jug, but
there's a huge community online of people who play and record it and stream it on like Twitch and stuff. If you go on YouTube and type in any game, Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade, the Requiem, whatever, like any game, you can find a group playing it and just watch them.
Yeah.
And just, if you're not liking the beginning, because sometimes watching tabletop is boring, just skip around a bit. Find combat.
I will say,
I
will say,
see if that gets you going.
I haven't, to this day, watched a full episode of any tabletop thing. They tried to get me into the one that was really big D&D one, Critical Role. I never could get into it. And I'm just saying, this is just me. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just not that person. I can't sit for 3 hours and watch. I can sit for 3 hours and play.
That is something that exists as well. So if it sounds like something that you might be more interested in, like watching the stories come to fruition, there's a huge community of people.
Definitely, man. No matter what you're facing, like if it's the freaking stress or pressure of like if this is nerdy or what, it doesn't matter. Or if I can find time, just give it a shot, try it out, and you'll probably end up liking it.
Probably.
So, listen to our tips and you'll go far.
All right, thanks everyone. That was really long, but I think, we've had a lot of conversations on this podcast, and they've been really important, I think. But I don't know if there's anything I'm more passionate about than tabletop, and I don't know if that showed in my conversations with Tommy and Emily here. But man, if there is nothing else you guys get from this, I hope that someone wants to play who hasn't played before.
Oh man, I hope that we do that, man.
And I think we all hope that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sticking it out for 2 parts. And all right, we love you guys. As Tommy said, go roll some dice.
Go roll some dice.
All right.